Hello again, welcome back to another update video. Another month has come and gone and it has flown by. And I should say I haven't done that many new things, but it still has felt really busy. I've done a lot of the same thing over and over and over again. The number one thing being studying. I go and I meet with a tutor 2 times a week for 2 hours each time, and then I study on my own. I attempt to practice. I now have Korean friends that I try out my new Korean words on. My brain is so fried every day, but it's okay. 공부할 거예요. I've gotten to meet with friends quite a bit, and I've gotten to just walk around and explore, as well as find all the new cafes, all the new places just to go and hang out. So without further ado, here is a quick recap of this month. So to give you some highlights from this month, I want to start with at the very end of April, I got to go to a sheep cafe. Now Korea has all kinds of cafes. I'm sure you've heard of a cat cafe, but they have more than that. When I was here for Christmas, I got to go to a raccoon cafe where you just paid to go in, you could get some coffee, but then you could go play with raccoons, and they also had dogs there. But this time we went to a sheep cafe. Also in Korea, they have several just dog cafes. I had some teammates go to a meerkat cafe. I think I saw a sign for a goat cafe one day. But this one, the sheep cafe, the sheep were outside, and you got your coffee inside. We sat and chatted for a bit before heading out just to sit and pet the sheep, and it was tons of fun. I got to have really good conversations with the girls I went with, and got to talk a lot about spiritual warfare and how the enemy works in Korea. We got to talk about what a healthy church looks like, and just a lot of really good conversation. So 10 out of 10, I want to do that again. Another highlight is we've gotten to prayer walk at a couple different universities, which has just been really refreshing to my own soul to do. Just to walk around and really specifically pray for the students, for the teachers, for the foreign students and native students alike, for exams and graduations, next steps, the pressures that they have on them, administration having to make decisions, and just for the salvation of the young people all over Seoul to really hear the gospel, the true gospel, and not some fake presentation of it that the media gives out, or non-biblical churches or non-biblical gatherings of people give out. The first university that I want to talk about is the one I have videos of, and that is Ifa University. This is a women's university, and it is a absolutely gorgeous campus with some really cool architecture right down the middle, where they have like two buildings inside the hills, and it's just really cool to look at. It was really cool just to sit there and pray and watch the people walk by. But also just gorgeous old buildings from when the school was founded. The other university that we've prayer walked is Yonsei University, which is also where I go to the doctor. So if anybody visits me in Korea and needs a doctor, I know where it is now. It's on Yonsei's campus. Yonsei is huge and it's pretty spread out. So we didn't walk around the whole thing, but the main part of campus we did walk around as we passed by the dorms, pray for the on-campus students, and passed by some sports fields and prayed for those who found their worth in those extracurriculars that can't do them now because of COVID, and that they will see where their true worth comes from. So the Bible study I mentioned last video has kind of started. All 3 of our schedules are pretty different and when we have free time, and they also have been doing exams, so it's been harder to meet because they're busy studying and actually taking the exams. But we have gone through the first chapter of Luke, but every other time that we've met up just for like a coffee date or something, or a game night that was already planned, we've gotten to have some really good conversation over it, and I hope have been able to speak truth into it despite not actually walking through a passage. next thing I want to talk about is a really cool opportunity that we have with BSU, the Baptist Student Union here in Korea. They have started doing online Zoom meetings for language exchange. Because of COVID, they've had to learn and adapt on what they can and can't do, and their solution has been to meet online and just start with language exchange. They're hoping to expand this in the future and do even more with it. But we've gotten to help with this one part, and we just log in, join the meeting, and we're helping them with conversation practice. So we get to talk in English, so my brain gets a break from Korean, and we just have a topic and we talk about it, and for words that they don't know or if they need help, we can chime in. But mostly this is practice for them just to be able to put together their sentences and hear English. With all of the international students here in Seoul, I've gotten to meet people from America, India, and China pretty often, but I have actually made Korean friends this month, and it is really exciting because even though I don't know enough Korean to really put together good sentences yet, I can't remember enough vocab to do that, I'm able to listen better because of conversations in Korean, at least around me. For example, I was invited over to a teammate's house, and she had her Korean tutor there as well as her Korean tutor's friend. So they mostly were speaking in Korean, and every now and then would say an English word. And I was thoroughly impressed that I could keep up with probably about 50% of the conversation. But little things like that have been really encouraging of I'm not stupid. I'm learning, and that's okay. Speaking of hearing things in Korean, I have now gotten to go to church in person, which was really cool. I got to visit a friend's church here in Korea. She's an international student, and she said they have a translation, but they do meet in person. It's in Korean. They have an international ministry, but the church is in Daejeon. I was like, okay, 2 hours away. It's a really long way away. But they just had a branch open up in Seoul. So I got to go visit and had a translation for it, which was super nice. I didn't have to sit there and strain to try to understand a sentence. But it was so nice to go to church in person, see people, talk to people afterwards. We went out to dinner afterwards because it was a later service. And just talking to the 2 Korean girls who knew enough English. Their English was really good for them to sit and talk to us and help me with my Korean and just get to know me. It was phenomenal, and it's something that I really missed from church in person, was talking to the people and getting to see them and getting food afterwards with some friends. So it made me feel a little bit more at home, and I really, really liked it. The church itself was really, really nice. Everybody there was very kind and friendly, and the sermon that day was definitely what I needed to hear. It was about being filled with the Holy Spirit and preaching the gospel, and it's exactly what my heart needed to hear as I was struggling just to make friends that weren't Christian, and I was struggling to speak in Korean of this is the job that God has given me for now, but it's not reliant on me. It's reliant on the Holy Spirit. I also got to go to church in person this morning. I'm recording this on Sunday. I got to go to the church plant that I visited when I was here for Christmas in Korea that the IMB has planted, Namugyohe. And they don't actually have church service in person. They live stream it. But the worship team and the pastor are already there, and they said, yeah, you can come and sit in and eat lunch with us. I said, okay, perfect. I would love that. So I got to sit in and actually hear live worship again, and got to hear my American friend preach in Korean, which was super cool because last time I saw him was 2019, and to hear how much more Korean he knows and his pronunciation is really good. Yes, okay, it's possible. I can do this. And I got to meet the worship team and talk with those girls and hear more about their story. One of the girls on the worship team also happens to be the same girl that I met at my teammate's house. So So we both got to talk about how we came to know the Lord, and we got to talk about our future plans and what we're aspiring towards, and just about life in general. So I got to hear about how she met her best friend. I got to tell her about my friends. Told her that one of them is getting married soon. Hopefully she's watching this video. Congratulations, Krista. I will be there virtually. Another fun thing I want to highlight that I got to do this month is I got to try to make chai. And that was, well, I watched them make chai, but I was taking notes, so maybe one day I can actually make it too. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of international students in Seoul, and one of them goes to Namu Gyohae, and I got to meet her last time I was here. And another one is a new friend who is a student here in Korea right now. And they both came over with another teammate of mine, and that teammate actually made the chai, and I watched. With the girl that's from India who's a student here, we got to go to Hongdae, and we went to the Trick Eye Museum, and we got to go to a really cool cafe, which I think I have videos of, maybe not, I don't remember. But that friend had some really good questions that led to interesting conversations that made it easy to share beliefs with. So it went from like our thoughts on drinking to our thoughts on dating and marriage, and that was just like a gift from God. And the teammate that I was with pointed that out when she made friends with her, of like how we're both very awkward when it comes to just starting a spiritual conversation. So it's an answered prayer to have a friend that started it for you without intending to, probably. We've also talked about just religions and how they differ from India to here, and like what her family believes and what she grew up thinking versus what we believe. I'm so thankful for all the opportunities I've had this month to have spiritual conversations, to practice my Korean, to hear people's stories and how they got to Korea, or what they want to do with their lives after college, and all the ways people came to know the Lord. Everything this month has just been encouraging, even though it's been hard some days now that it's kind of sinking in, like, okay, you're here for 2 years. And the times I've wanted to just cry because I couldn't understand Korean. And this month has just been very, very good for me. A reminder from the Lord that this is where I'm supposed to be, and it's okay that it's not easy. Nothing is supposed to be easy. I want to leave this video with 2 things. 1, if you want to get involved somehow in the ministry that's being done here, you can get involved with the BSU ministry and the video chats that they do. They are Wednesday and Thursday night, 9 p.m. Korean time, which means they're 8 a.m. Wednesday, Thursday for my North Carolina friends. So email me, message me on social media, something if you want to know more, and I will get you more information about that. The second thing I want to leave you with is an encouragement, hopefully for you, but definitely for me, and that's no matter where you are in the world, we are all called to the same thing, and that is to love God, love our neighbor, share the gospel, and make disciples of all nations. Every bit of me wanted to finish that with how chapel would end. Go with the gospel. Southeastern, you are dismissed. Thank you for watching this video. Sorry it's kind of rambling. This month hasn't been a solid schedule. The only thing that's been solid is my Korean classes, so the video feels very all over the place. Sorry for the lack of videos and pictures. They did not happen this month, but next month. Thanks for watching. See you next time.